All right, welcome into another edition of the Ryan and Goodman podcast. We are at the Legacy Club right across from the brand kind of new TD North
totally,
Garden. They've revamped this whole thing. Have you been in there yet?
I have not made my debut.
You got to go in.
I know. I will.
They got a supermarket. They got restaurants. I mean, back when you were covering the team in the
Jeff,
heyday.
I missed the Iron Horse. Okay, that was
the Iron
living.
Horse.
That was living. Before and after the game, you went. That was the one place on the ground floor. You went to the Iron Horse, and that's where you went. That was it.
Yeah, I did not go to I was too young to go to the Iron Horse.
The
Fours. I did the Fours.
Oh, yeah, many a good post-gamer at the Iron Horse.
Well, plenty to talk about this week in life of the NBA. Fisticuffs,
we
got
an
injuries.
Interesting start, yes.
We got plenty. Preseason, it was kind of hard to come up with good topics. Now it's pretty easy. And let's start with the fisticuffs.
Sure. Well, the giant wrestling match.
It was a good. Listen, giant heavyweights. At least we didn't have like lightweights.
No. We two young, immensely talented bigs went at it. Karl Anthony Towns and Joel Embiid, and Ben Simmons injected himself as the peacemaker with a wonderful stranglehold, right? Yes. But all right. Number one, the league never wants stuff like this to happen. They did roll toward the crowd. That's always the great fear, of course.
Yep.
You don't want that, and you don't want that image. They try to erase that image. They're trying to do it, but there's apparently some of the rivalry with those two, right? And of course, everybody's got a rivalry with Embiid, or he creates a rivalry with everybody. Is that what it is?
The best part, yes, because Joel talks, right? Karl Anthony Towns is quiet.
Talks, Instagrams, tweets,
everything.
You name it.
You name
it. Hasn't been
Joel
invented yet,
it.
but when it is, he'll be the first to do it.
Listen, I kind of like it. I know a lot of people are like, all right, grow up. I'm kind of immature. I tweet some dumb stuff too, but I don't tweet this. I mean, listen.
Go ahead.
Right after the game, it was from JoJo. Great team win. I was raised around lions, and a cat pulled on me tonight. Got his mama giving middle fingers left and right. That's some serious real estate. That was actually the nicer of the tweets that he put out. Then he put out one. That tough guy act ain't cutting it. You know what you are. You know what you've always been, a pussy. Say it louder for people in the back. Been kicking your ass and pretty please make the playoffs before you talk. It's a known thing that I own you.
Wow.
And he tweets right to Karl Anthony Towns.
Yeah.
Like,
well,
again, at
when's
least,
the next
at
game?
least what he's doing,
I
it's not till like
schedule.
March. I mean, it can't come soon enough.
Well,
All-Star game.
Oh, yeah,
right?
I think they'll always have a shot at
in
making
Chicago,
it. Yeah,
in the All-Star
they'll always
game?
have a shot at making it, I think.
Oh, they'll both be in there. They'll both be in there. They'll play against each other. People make a big deal about it like they did with KD and Russ a few years ago at the All-Star game, and nothing happened.
No punch was thrown,
No.
which is interesting. Now, you think I know, was that conscious because you know the consequences of a punch, or was it just so happened that they don't, they want to wrestling just because? I'd love to ask. That's a good question to ask them. Now, did some trigger go off as you were getting involved in this? Don't throw a punch. I don't know.
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
I'd
like to think they had that kind of prescience,
punches.
but I don't think so.
This isn't Charles Oakley, right? They're not throwing punches. It's wrestling. They don't really want to fight. They don't. The best part, to me, the part that stood out to me in this whole fight, more than anything else, was Ben Simmons coming immediately to the aid of Joel Embiid. I love that. I love that because those two, I have been told over the years, not close at all. Mm-hmm. In fact, really didn't get along great early on. Completely different personalities. Ben Simmons is quiet, cool, collected, isn't going to say anything.
Measured,
Joel is the show.
Yeah.
He's the show, and you wondered whether Ben was jealous because it was all about Joel, and it has been all about Joel since Ben got there. So to see Ben Simmons rush to the aid of Joel Embiid was the most important thing that happened in that fight, period.
We'll see what the long-lasting results that has for the 76ers.
I think it'll help.
But we're starting off, by the way, looking like the team we kind of thought they were with the kind of production that they were going to have, which is they got an excellent starting five, and if they can scrape 20 points a night out of the bench, they'll be lucky, right?
Make some shots. Yeah, bench.
I'm
no
serious,
bench.
though. I'm not, as opposed to some other teams that we're getting upwards of 60 points out of the bench.
I think the biggest thing for Philly is twofold. One, are they going to make enough shots from the perimeter? Mm-hmm. And two, how do they fit together? They're really good defensively. Everybody but Tobias, right? Everybody else, you look at them: Joel, Horford, Josh Richardson, Ben Simmons are all
Simmons
elite
is
level.
such a mismatch. Obviously,
They're
both
all
ends
elite
of the
level
floor.
defenders. But can Tobias guard a three? Do you have to put Simmons on it? Like, how do you put them together? And this kid they got, Tybal, from Washington, is a elite level defender, but can't really shoot it yet. He's better offensively in the open floor. So yeah, Philly 4-0. The fight was certainly intriguing and got me thinking. Who is the ultimate tough guy? Like, I go with Charles Oakley. That's my generation.
Okay, right.
You probably go back even further to guys that.
I go back, obviously, as far as Jungle Jim Luskatoff himself.
Okay.
And there was a guy in Philly that you may never have heard of, and who was, I think, a one-time Globetrotter. Who, in those days when there were plenty of crossover guys who went from the Trotters to the league when it was difficult for an African American player to get a job in the NBA. Yeah. His name was Andy Johnson. And he was 6'4", and they said his arms, long arms and strong, and it was don't mess with Andy Johnson. But my guy, there's a lot of phony tough guys.
Sure.
Phony tough guys. This guy.
I thought KG was a phony tough guy. I thought he talked so much crap.
He wasn't. I don't think of him in terms of.
Remember when he got down his hands and knees for Jared Bayless? He wasn't a tough guy. I mean, listen, he's tough. He could beat the crap out of me, but
I'll give you a tough guy that you didn't mess with, and that was Maurice Lucas.
Oh,
I think he's my nominee.
Yep.
But then again, there's a category. Legitimately, the best boxer that we know of in recent times in NBA was Calvin Murphy.
Really?
Just ask Sidney Wicks, who is a foot
Calvin
taller.
Murphy was a boxer, a fighter?
He could box. He decked Sidney Wicks.
Really?
A foot shorter. And that earned him a lot of spurs around the league, let me tell you right now, at the time. But I'm nominating Maurice Lucas because there were a lot of phony tough guys. Here was a legitimate tough guy.
So the one in the league right now who's the toughest, to me, it's not even close. And you may not know this. James Johnson.
Oh, I remember.
Black belt. Black belt.
Oh, well, okay.
He's going to beat the crap out of anybody. I don't care who it is.
Right.
I mean, there are a lot of, tough guards, like Marcus Smart, Patrick Beverly. I always thought Terry Rozier. Remember Rozier went at Embiid last year.
Yeah.
Like, Rozier's tough. So, but it's hard to put those guards. It's hard to give a guard the toughest guy in the NBA.
I know that.
Right? You got to give it to a big.
Suddenly my mind is flashing because of this topic. There was a wonderful guy who flashed across the comet, flashing across the NBA sky, Ricky Sobers.
Oh, yeah, Ricky
and
Sobers.
Ricky Sobers in his rookie, he was never a rookie, one of those guys,
Yeah.
It was technically, it was his first year, but he did not, the connotation of rookie did not apply to Ricky Sobers. And there's certain players like that. In the 1976 playoffs, which consisted of 3 rounds, he had a fight in each round.
Did he really?
Yeah.
So he was Seattle?
Yeah. No, the Phoenix Suns.
Phoenix.
He was tough. UNLV guy, tough. Anyway, there's one. But
a lot of those UNLV guys, listen, I mean, you want to fight Larry Johnson?
Larry Johnson.
Right?
Yeah, I think he was legitimately tough.
Liddell Eccles on that UNLV team?
Liddell Eccles, yeah, okay.
Big, strong, tough.
All right, there you go.
They had some dudes. They had some men. Tark knew who to bring in.
But, in the 77 finals, Darryl Dawkins was throwing his weight around, and Maurice Lucas put him in his place. Let me just put it that way. I
still would say Oakley. I mean, I've heard stories of Oakley in Vegas. Like, he's been thrown out of recently in the last few years. I'll gamble at the Cosmopolitan. That's where I stay. Mm-hmm. They have stories there where they've had to kick Oakley out.
Really,
recently.
Huh? Yeah.
I don't think he's allowed.
Well, you're talking about ornery, or talking? I mean, no, I'm saying
he'll fight bouncers. I've heard how he's taken out 5 bouncers again in Vegas at a casino with a broken hand. Had to go to jail for a few hours, comes back out, and then gets into another fight. So I would put Oakley, for me, up there towards the top. Because not only was he big, strong, tough, but he was willing. He was willing at any point to go toe-to-toe with anybody. I mean, he was Jordan's protector, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You didn't mess with Jordan because you had to deal with Oak.
No, you're right. All right, that's good.
All right, speaking of somebody else who's probably not a tough guy, did get hurt this week. And, I think gets more criticism than he deserves. Steph Curry broke his hand same night. So that night you got the fight. You got Steph Curry. I think you have the World Series.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It was a crazy.
And then you have I was at the Celtics
Milwaukee
game,
Bucks
which was
game,
way down the list.
Yeah.
You know, it's a big win for the Celtics, but it didn't even register because late at night, Steph Curry breaks his hand, and we don't know how long he's going to be out, but I mean, it's going to be at least 6 weeks, I would think, at a minimum.
I want everybody in the Bay Area and all our fans around the league, and God knows there's plenty of them based on his jersey sales, right? And around the world, take a deep breath, okay? It wasn't going to be their year anyway. I've heard it properly described last week. This is their gap year. So they just graduated, and now they're taking a year off. They're going to do backpack around basketball Europe, in metaphorically speaking, and then they're going to come back next year healthier, ready to go. This is before Steph Curry got hurt, okay? So it ain't happening this year. Just relax. Enjoy the game. Just enjoy the spectacle of the sport. Root for whoever is your second favorite player on the team. Enjoy.
You got the
Draymond.
San Francisco 49ers.
You got the Niners
right?
8-0
exactly.
as we speak. You got stuff. Come on. So it isn't going to happen. Now, to me, the big loss, obviously, the individual. You want him. You know, he's number 2. The team.
He's good for the game.
This is bad for the game because
Yeah.
is he not only an all-star, not only is he not just a star, a good player. There are plenty of all-star players that don't move the pulse, get your pulse racing. He's special. He's a show. He stands for something. He may be the best at what he is the best at what he does in the history of the sport. Okay, nobody shoots the basketball better from more distances, more reliably than Stephen Curry, and so him not being available is a blow for the sport.
You know where it hurts? The intrigue. Is Golden State going to make the playoffs? Aren't they going to make the playoffs? Then when they sneak in the number 8 spot, Bob, you have a great 1-8 matchup in the first round. Everybody's watching that matchup. Golden State, whether it's Houston, whether it's the Clippers, whoever finishes the number 1 seed, that becomes a must-watch series.
Yeah.
Now, honestly, Golden State becomes irrelevant.
Oh, they're not. No, unless you're,
Draymond. You want to see how Draymond reacts.
Now,
to
this is interesting about Draymond. Now we know Draymond Green. I mean, I've been a member of the fan club on the court.
Yep.
A member of the fan club since I first laid eyes on him at Michigan State. I think probably his junior year. Okay, I said this kid.
You didn't see Fat Draymond.
He can play.
His freshman year?
but he could play. I saw Fat Charles Barkley before round mound and rebound. And before he took care of himself better. All right. I like him a lot. I love his game, but his game, he is the ultimate complementary. That's what an E player. And I hope and nobody out there is thinking he's going to have to step up and be the leading man now. He's still the candidate for best supporting actor every night, but he's not the leading man. And so,
you know who the leading man is now? D'Angelo Russell. Good luck.
He's going to put stats. Here's what's going to happen. He's going to put up numbers. He's going to put up points. He will put up points. I'm not knocking him. I'm just saying he is what he is right now. It's like 4th year. We've had enough of a sample size to figure him out, I think. And he'll put up points, and but it's not going to be Steph points. I can promise you that.
Well, it's just, again.
Effectively, in effect. Or
it's going to be
points.
Interesting to see how, again, Draymond reacts to losing.
Absolutely.
He hasn't lost.
No.
Since his rookie year, right? I think his rookie year, they weren't great. But basically, Draymond's won a lot in his career, whether it's in college or the NBA. So how's he going to handle with these young teammates that aren't good enough, period? He can make them better. He can try his emotional tactics to try to motivate these kids. But there's a limit on what you're going to get out of this team. So at some point, Bob, do you just say, we are not going to bring Steph Curry back? He's done. We're going to shut him down this year, and we're going to try to get a top 10 pick, and when we bring Steph and Clay and Draymond, and we got D'Angelo, and if we can maybe we can get in the lottery. Maybe we can get in the mix for one of the worst. I mean, honestly, I'm not sure they're going to be the worst team, but can they be in the bottom 7 or 8 and have a shot at a really good player?
To the San Antonio Spurs.
It worked for them, didn't it?
When David Robinson got hurt, and it just so happened there was a plum available out of Wake Forest.
Not in this draft.
Out of Wake Forest. I know there's nobody in this draft. Okay, a couple things. That is what I would do. I would take a step back and go and take. I don't know whether first of all, I'm going to assume that they're sold out for the year in the jury world of basketball that they've created, right?
Sure. New arena.
So people are still going to come. So I don't have to worry about it, the crowd. I would that would be the prudent, intelligent, rational, and long range most productive thing they could do, and not worry about the W's and L's.
Get in the James Wiseman sweepstakes, who is the projected #1 pick. Mm-hmm. He's 7-1. He's skilled. He plays at Memphis, freshman. And can you just get in the equation
Wait a minute.
for him? Or
7-1 is not a detriment now, and is not bad. You don't want to be.
You don't want to be.
You don't want to be. You don't want to be.
KD's 7-1, but
you don't want to be 5-1
or
7-1. Yeah. You want to be somewhere in. I'm only kidding. I'm waiting.
This kid would be just what they need too. He's not. But again, I don't think they're going to get in the equation to be the worst team in the NBA. I just don't see that.
Not that bad. Oh, no.
Now, the West is tough.
They're in the West.
So
which is gonna,
I mean, again, if you shut Steph down for the year and then you have one other injury to either Draymond or D'Angelo Russell, you could see that, like, where are they going to score?
Well, I mean, we know
even with D'Angelo, where are they going to score?
Well, we're not suggesting he's going to be out for the year yet, are we? No, of course.
He's
6-8 weeks
not.
Whatever. Yeah.
But again, if you're Bob Myers, do you just tell Steph, hey, you know what? Go on a long vacation.
Not if he's available. You can't do
it.
I don't think so. If he's really available.
He's going to be available.
Then I don't know. I just think you just don't do anything else. You don't do anything. You don't make a move.
But then you're mediocre.
You're not, yes. You're not.
You'll be a late lottery team. Something
can't
like that. You get a little bit better.
We can't leave Draymond Green without talking about Kevin Durant and Kevin Durant's revelation. Was it a revelation to you?
Which revelation?
Oh, that yes, indeed, it was a factor. My spat and what he said to me with Draymond was a factor. I did factor it in to my decision to leave. Is that a revelation to you?
Listen, the revelation to me was when, I think it was Max Kellerman, asked him about his relationship with Steve Kerr, and he did not. He basically said, I had no real relationship with Steve Kerr. That shocked me.
I missed Draymond part. I didn't see the whole interview, folks, so that shocks me. I'm now
shocks. Who doesn't get along well with Steve Kerr?
I'm taking a very deep breath myself. He said, what?
Yeah, he basically said, like, he was my coach. I did not get along with him, but it's not like we hung out. And I get it. Like, you're not hanging out with Steve Kerr.
No, you don't hang out with the coach anyway. But I know.
But how do you not?
But Kerr seems to be right. Kerr's
it's
created.
Like Brad Stevens. It's like Brad. Like, how do you not get along with Brad or Steve Kerr? Like, those are two people to me as people, and I know them both pretty well. Like, you can't not get along with those two guys well.
I got to take a quick 20 about Stevens. You did see this week that Pete Buttigieg went to New Hampshire and put on a Celtic hat to have some fun with the fact that people. He does remind people of him.
No, I thought he looked. I actually thought by doing what he did, he looked less like Brad Stevens.
Yeah, the picture I saw, but I had it in my head. But anyway, the idea of hooking on to Brad was it put a smile on my face. Yeah. Okay, now we're not going to be political. Don't worry about it. It's okay. I just so happened. Would have been a Republican, I would have said the same thing. Don't worry about it. Okay.
So, KD, getting back to KD.
All right, back to KD, yeah.
He's just an interesting guy. I mean, listen, this is a kid who didn't speak early on. He was super quiet.
Remember those early press conferences with the backpack and the Bible and oh my God, I got to get home to mommy. You thought, I don't want to miss the bus. I got to get home. He's come a long way, folks. But that's okay. He's grown up in public. He's not the first person. I saw Larry grow up in public. And don't ask Larry who. Don't ask Larry who. I saw Larry grow up in public. I saw Larry go from being wary, reticent, suspicious, almost not hostile, but suspicious and wary of the media, to where he wrapped the media around his little finger. He had the best off-day press conferences in the playoffs.
He really did.
Oh, he's terrific. He was great after games in his last 3-4 years. He was fantastic. And he had
what was the difference, Bob? Why do you think all of a sudden he just became
self-confidence? We could. Yeah. Maybe we ought to do. We could do a whole show on that.
Listen, I'm in.
I'm just saying.
Can we get Larry here?
Well, I'll put a call in. We'll see. But we've seen people. These guys, remember? Now Larry was different. Larry turned 23 during his rookie year, December 7th, 1956. He was born. He turned 23 in 1979. These guys, we got a 23-year-old guy who's the graybeard of the Celtics.
Yeah.
That's
right.
and the point of service. This is how we changed. Right. Okay. But Grant was one of these guys. They're 19, 20 years old, and they had to grow up in public. Yeah. And Larry had to grow up in public, because his background was so.
Media, though,
we can
Bob.
talk. Yeah.
That's the difference with all these guys. Right. You see Embiid and Cat going at each other on Twitter, and we all look at it and like, what the hell are these kids doing? Well, this is what they know.
This is what they do. Yeah.
This is how they communicate. My daughter, she communicates on Instagram.
Sure, yeah.
She's not calling her friends every night.
Oh, they don't do that. No,
Right.
Call. They don't even know that the phone has that function.
Exactly. So
this is not kidding. These kids don't even know. You can what? You can a phone call. Oh, I thought it was that thing with the Oh wow.
I just wonder if and I like Kevin. Like I've known Kevin since he was 14 years old. I really like Kevin. But you wonder in a way if it sounds like no matter what, he's not going to be completely happy. And if that's the case, Bob, it's perfect marriage, is it? Right?
With you know who?
The two guys that may never be happy.
Is he permanently scarred by the backlash to his going to
I say
Golden
yes.
State?
I say that changed him completely. I tell everybody this. Listen, Kevin Durant was the golden boy. The golden boy coming up. Nobody ever said a bad word about him, whether it was coming up in high school, AAU, his freshman year, his only year at Texas, at Oklahoma City. This is a kid who tweeted out when he signed an extension. I remember I was at LeBron James's camp, and KD tweeted out that he's staying with Oklahoma City and that he signed an extension. I called him. I said, Kevin, did you legitimately is that how you broke the news? and that's how he's changed now. Like, I just feel like once he went to Golden State, people just went at him, and he was not used to it. He did not know how to handle it. And he'll deny this. He'll say it didn't change him. But I do feel like Kevin Durant has always been a pleaser. And at that point, there was nothing he could do. I mean, everybody was killing him. Half the people, he had never dealt with it before, didn't know how to handle it, and really still doesn't. I don't think he's comfortable with being disliked. But what can he do about it now? Nothing. Yeah. Nothing.
The only thing. No, I know it's tough. The one thing, what he has to keep doing is just you don't complain about his game. There's no but. There's no Harden here. There's no Irving here. There's no. Yep. He knows how to play. Plays properly. He plays at an extraordinarily high level.
Doesn't talk a lot of shit.
No.
Doesn't. I mean,
he just goes out there.
The only thing he does is again, he probably goes at people on Twitter, but But
when that game starts, he plays basketball in an exemplary manner.
Yeah, the right way, and that's the one thing I think people. And again, this year it's tough because he's not on the court. Yeah. So he does an interview. Now it's all going to be about. Well, why didn't you say? Part of the interview too was they asked him, do you want to be the greatest player? Do you think you're the greatest player in the game right now? Do you think? And he just wouldn't answer it. Yeah. He basically was like, I just want to be the best version of me.
Which is a perfect
taking the high road, but people want to hear. No, I want to be the best. I think I'm the best player in the NBA. Half the people want to hear that. Half the people want to hear the way he said it. So he can't win. To me now, Kevin Durant, he can't win because he'll please half, but he'll piss off the other half. And those are the half that are going to come at him on Twitter. And that's what he sees. When you go on Twitter, what do you see? You see the negative. And you feel the need to go back at him, some people.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So I think, again, I think it's going to be very interesting to watch when he gets back how he and Kyrie do together. And then, obviously, this year, what Kyrie leaves him with. Right now they're 1-3. Kyrie's been great, but the Brooklyn Nets have not. And by default, they should finish fourth in the East. To me, they should. They better. Let's put it this way. They better, because if they don't, then Kyrie's going to hear it.
Oh, yeah. Well, and, you got obviously you're two at the top still, Philly, Milwaukee, Boston, Indiana.
Toronto,
Miami's sleeper.
Miami's been good. Miami's been good.
People like Miami, so it's going to be interesting. I'll tell you who's going to earn his money, and someday he can sit down and have a beer with the others who had to do it, and that's Kenny Atkinson. Yeah. Because I'm telling you,
good luck.
You know who Kyrie is? He's no day at the beach, folks. But
you wonder if KD will help him or hurt him.
I don't know.
That's going to be the big question.
No, because
can he help him? Obviously, Kyrie trusts Kevin. So maybe Kevin can help him. I don't know. in some way, and obviously alleviating some of the pressure. But even just Kyrie knowing he's got somebody with him. But the other part of that is the last time I remember two guys being in a locker room that kind of separated themselves was Jimmy Butler and Dwayne Wade in Chicago. It was those two. And then it was Rondo and all the young guys on the other side, and it did not go well.
No, it did not go well.
So in Brooklyn, could the same happen? I don't know. Philly undefeated right now. I think we're in agreement that they're the best team in the East. They're the team that you would take. Still want to see how it plays out. It's early. Celtics beat Milwaukee the other night.
The Celtics,
without Enes Kanter, without Jaylen
Brown. Yes, they.
Are you on the train now?
Well, I don't
want to get on the train.
Well, I know. I was on it in the sense of being in the they're going to be better than you think camp before it started, and all, and dependent obviously on certain things. Hayward approaching his old All-Star status, if not exactly being that. Tatum being the player we thought he was 2 years ago, rather than the player he had slid back to last year. Those are, and of course. Wasn't worried about Walker at all. Now, Walker opening night, he had the 4 for 18 with Philly. So, God, get that out of your system. He's not. We know that's such an aberration. And of course, it'll be proven. It's already proven to be the aberration, and we knew it was. No, and there's a feeling. You were there the other night. You're getting a sense of their kumbaya feeling this year, and that's so totally different than what it was last year already. And there is sufficient raw talent. There's a lot of guys who can play this game.
Yeah, I mean, listen, they were really good the other night, and Milwaukee wasn't.
Yeah.
As much as people are going to focus on what Boston did,
go ahead.
To me, I look at Milwaukee, and I just see holes that I'm not sure. Losing Brogdon was significant. Yeah. You're putting Wesley Matthews in for Malcolm Brogdon. That is a big difference. And ultimately – and I've said this last year, I do not trust Eric Bledsoe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're right.
As a point guard, he plays hard, he's tough, all that. I just don't think he's a guy that you can trust to be consistent. He can make the home run play. I don't think he's a high IQ basketball playing point guard. And I think that hurts him at the end of the day. And you know what you have to do with this team, which is stop Giannis. And the Celtics did an unbelievable job as a group of doing that.
Yeah, and one of them being, I'm a member of the fan club. Okay, so just full disclosure, you can do anything, no wrong in my eyes. Marcus Smart, and Marcus Smart. Even bodying up to and annoying. That's just annoying the hell out of the Antetokounmpo.
It's amazing, isn't it?
But that's
giving up 7 inches.
That's what he can do, and what a valuable piece of the puzzle he is for them. And I'm so glad that that he seems happy here, and I want him around here forever. I totally love him, and I always forgave him for taking the bad shots. I said that's his reward. You got to reward him. He just made a play at the other end. Nobody else is going to make. Let him have a little fun. But he's making them. I don't anticipate he's going to make 5 too often, but if he
could do that every
fourth
game, right? Do it every fourth game, and
meanwhile he does stuff
nobody else
you're
does.
not going to do.
I mean, I love when he fell on Giannis
at
the end of the game, not on purpose, but it looked like he body slamming.
But they're going to be fun, I think, and that's what I was hoping for. The very least we're going to say about them is they're going to be fun. The thing in the middle is going to be interesting. They go in without Kanter the other night and start Tyson.
Keep him in the starting lineup up. Keep Tyson there.
And
bring Kanter off
the bench. He'll be fun. Yeah.
Well, I think that's where your second unit can't score
right now. Right.
Can't score. So what you do is bring Kanter in off the bench. Tice is perfect for the first unit because he doesn't need the ball, and everybody else wants it.
Borrow a phrase. Ready?
Yeah.
He's your opener.
Yeah, he's your opener. No,
he's your opener.
Absolutely. Yeah, what does he do? He just plays hard, tips the ball. Even if he can't get the rebound, he's going to keep it alive. He'll make some open threes. If they leave him open, he hit a big one the other night. And Kanter comes off the bench when he's healthy with a group that maybe you stagger it. You're going to keep one of those starters in with Kanter. So then you got 2 guys that can really score with a Grant Williams coming off the bench.
He's been Brogdon-like.
He's terrific
so far.
You should see him. Listen,
huh?
We're going to get Grant Williams on the pod at some point.
Yeah, oh yeah.
You and I.
Well, I'm going to have to get the thesaurus out. I'm going to have to.
No,
I'm going to have to bone up on my.
He's ridiculous.
I don't want to get embarrassed by this young man. I mean, come on.
And when we get him here, we'll put out the photo of Fat Grant and now. Grant was, chubby was probably an understatement.
Really?
Yeah. He was not recruited heavily at all. He was like a mid-major recruit. Harvard was recruiting him.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. All right. Something happened the other night that this is my quirky thing. You're going to have to bear with me here.
Okay.
Going back to.
Am I going to have to reel you in?
No, 50 years. I was a box score freak. I love box scores. I just, the old days before the 3, and I grew up and I knew 7 and 7 was not 14, was 21. 11 and 8's 30. You know, I mean, every one of them automatically in my head. You know, now and I used to frame people in their game as with the box score. Okay. My box score, I was 5.010. I was a 5.010 guy. I didn't go to the line. You know? Okay. Yep. We had a box score the other night with Anthony Davis, 7:27, 46, or whatever, 40, whatever the hell, right? Yeah. 40, right? Yeah. It reminded me of I used to do this thing with people. I show them some box scores and say, who do you think this player was? Okay. All right. One of my all-time favorite box scores, 9:28, 46. Ooh. It's a player within the last 25 years. Think about what type of player that would be.
Moses Malone, somebody like that. I don't know.
I'll give you a hint. What the opposite of, in terms of our calendar, the opposite of BC is what? The other side of BC and the Roman calendar.
Am I rolling it around?
No. What is it? How do we refer to the
opposite
years
of BC?
after BC?
Oh, what is it, AD?
Yes.
Yeah.
Adrian Dantley.
Oh.
Adrian Dantley was.
You know, I might have gotten that at some point.
He didn't do it. He's one of the few guys who consistently had more free throws in the game than field goals. By the way, there's only one guy in the Hall of Fame that had made more free throws than field goals. Dolph Shays.
Really?
So anyway,
how big was Adrian Dantley? 6'4"?
6'3" and change. Yeah. Okay. And it was ridiculous. And at every level, they said you can't. He won't get away with that at the next level. Yeah. When he went from DeMatha to Notre Dame, and went Notre Dame to the NBA, and guess what? He did. An incredible scoring machine. But anyway, let's just talk about that. What produced that, Anthony Davis, in terms with the shoulder all night, right? And he's not used to. He doesn't.
What does that show to you that Anthony Davis is able to go to the line that many times?
That obviously was doing it within the paint. I mean, he was doing it. He was willing to get down there and reinvent himself, if you will, or go play a little old school basketball. Right? It's the only way you're going to get that many free throws.
He's much stronger. Mm-hmm. He's filled. I mean, he's never going to look.
He's 25.
Right. He's never going to look like a big burly dude. But you know what? You can tell now he's put on probably 30 pounds since he got into the league, and it makes a huge difference. I mean, he's so skilled.
Oh.
Like the things that I remember seeing him do when he was on the AAU circuit, nobody knew who he was. And he had grown from like 6'3"
Right, he had been a 6'3" high school at one point, right? When he started high school.
Nobody knew. And he showed up at the Peach Jam, and the stuff he was doing away from the basket. And that's why when he first got to Kentucky, people didn't know. He wasn't really shooting a lot. He's so passive, and Calipari was all on him to be more aggressive. But those who had seen him before knew what he could do with a ball in his hands. And then it was like, all right, get in the post and do some things. And now he's got everything. There's nothing. Yeah. It's funny because when you talk about the best players in the league, Anthony Davis's name really hasn't come up for the last few years. No. Partially because of injury, partially because he's been in New Orleans.
I think more the former than the latter, but both.
I think it's a combination, and now everybody's seeing him every night in L.A. with LeBron, and you're like, oh, my God, like this kid can affect the game in every single way, right? He can shoot it. He can handle it. He can go inside. He's great defensively. He plays hard. Now he plays with a little bit of a motor and a little bit more of a killer instinct. So I think Anthony Davis is a guy right now you got to be talking about a top 3-5 player in the league.
Absolutely, and the second half of last year, he was once the story broke, he should have just sat down. Quite frankly, they weren't going anywhere.
With a phantom injury.
Yeah, he should have just sat down.
Right, because what he did was worse, walking off the court.
Wasn't good. But boy, he is something. But that was a box score. Before I leave that topic. The flip side, I'm going to give you a box score.
Guy who never went to the
I'm going to give you a box score, one of my 2 or 3 favorite box scores of all.
Okay.
30-4-64.
Ooh, boy. A lot of mid-range shots there.
Was a forward.
A soft forward?
Yeah.
Had to be.
Yeah.
I mean, it had to be a soft forward.
Oh, he would be so mortified to hear us say that. But I'm sorry. Sorry, you got to live with yourself. Rick Barry.
Oh.
34-64.
All right, can I ask you a question just because I've wondered this because his kids have come through. What was Rick Barry's reputation off the court? What did people like playing with him? Did people like Rick Barry in the league?
No.
Okay.
People loved it when people took shots at Rick Barry.
Yeah.
Everybody was lining up because he carried himself in an arrogant way and a perception of I'm holier, I'm better than you. Yeah. And the fact is, he's one of those guys. He carried himself as the smartest guy in the room. He often was.
Was he?
But he had to let you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
I happen to. I feel
liked
almost buried. We got along. He was nice to me, and I respect his knowledge. Oh my God! But anyway. Oh yeah, he was controversial. Oh my God!
Was he?
And everybody hated him. You know that he was on the broadcast team, one of the adjunct in the '76 finals for CBS. And when he came to Boston, they almost had to have security because the fans were booing him and throwing. Oh yeah, they were giving him a hard time. I mean, really, he aroused passionate. Feelings in people, and not positive outside of the Bay Area.
That's why I asked you,
outside of the Bay Area,
I've heard it for years.
It's true.
Interesting.
It wasn't like
Interesting. All right. Well, before we go, let's finish with surprises. It's early in the season.
All right.
What's your biggest surprise?
There's not monumental.
No,
right?
it's too early.
We got a weak sample.
Remember the Sixers jumped out to years ago when they were terrible.
But there's a guy on this team that if he does what he was drafted to do a while back, they might, and that is the Minnesota Timberwolves. Wiggins, all right? Is he going to ever? Look at him, folks. All right, I'm just saying. What if he ever stopped? Lived up to his original image. But meanwhile, Towns is off to a phenomenal start. Towns
is great.
Boxcar numbers. No, just reminding you.
You can guard better than Andrew Wiggins today.
I'm just saying.
Today.
All right. Well.
And it's embarrassing because he's so athletic. Yep. He's so gifted. He should be an elite level defender, and Andrew Wiggins can't guard anybody. And again, yes, you just don't know what to expect from Andrew Wiggins. I guess that's the hardest part for me. If you had to coach Andrew Wiggins, you don't know. Like he makes big shots like he did this past week.
Yeah, so I'm saying that was obviously, Jeff doesn't expect it to last, and I don't know whether it's going to last. I'm just throwing it out there.
He doesn't do anything other than score.
But God, Towns is off to a great start. We were talking about him at the fight earlier, but the wrestling match I want to call it earlier. But he is he's a wonder. I loved him, because he's he's a true throwback. He can post up. If he could spend the whole night in the paint if they wanted him to.
He can do whatever he wants.
He can do what he wants. He's a modern big. He can go out and face up. He can hit a three. But he knows he's got the footwork down there. Yep. Got the absolute great footwork, that I want to see in a big guy down there. You know
what my surprise is?
You're
going to like this one. So last night, a team with these two players in the starting lineup won an NBA game. Kendrick Nunn, who I know you may have heard of, maybe in the last week. That's had to be the first time you've ever heard of Kendrick Nunn.
I got a story.
And Duncan Robinson. They were in the starting lineup last night for the Miami Heat, and they won an NBA game.
Jeff.
And Duncan Robinson grew up right near Portsmouth, New Hampshire, on the island, whatever that island's called. I forget it. It's 20 minutes from my house. I forget the name of the island. Right. But I mean, D3 player, Williams, transfers to Michigan. Kendrick Nunn was kicked out of Illinois and ended up finishing his college career at Oakland, was in the G League last year, averaged about 20 in the G League. And now is leading the Miami Heat in scoring.
I'm aware of the Robinson story because I'm a friend of Dick Quinn at Williams, who's the SID, and obviously been all over this Robinson thing since the time he left Williams, right? Cool. I'm sitting home last night, and I'm watching the football game, and I'm trolling in the.
You like to tweet and troll.
And I want to see the scores, and I see this Miami score, and I always like to look in the box score and see what's going on. I said, "Who the F word is this?"
So you let him in scoring.
I go Google.
Yeah. Did a little research?
Yeah, right. Jeff's 100% right. I was unaware of his existence on this particular planet Earth until that moment, okay? So, yes, I will. And I'm going to pay attention to that young man now. I didn't know who the hell he was.
Jimmy Butler had like 6 points. Kendrick Nunn had 25. And it's every game. 5 games. I think he's had over 17 every single game.
I think I'd taken a little cursory notice earlier, but never bothered to look it up. I had to say, all right, who is it?
Yeah, he can really score. And, again, this just shows you, to me, the job that the Miami Heat do as a scouting, right, as an organization, finding these guys.
Give me a name.
I don't know who it is. I'm going to find a name.
Let's get a name.
We
want to give proper credit.
Yeah, we're going to find out who the scouts are that found Kendrick Nunn. Now, everybody else missed on him. And even they missed on him because he was in the G League last year. But Duncan Robinson, they've done it. Tyler Hero on the team right now is going to be terrific.
Well, no, him we know. But
Spo can really,
he
really
can stroke it, huh?
coach.
He can,
gets the most out of what he has.
Yeah. No. Well, this is good. I'm glad that he's getting his recognition because God knows he wasn't getting any when they were winning the whole thing properly. You know, oh, anybody can coach that team.
That's right.
Deals.
Yeah, exactly. It's so true.
Yeah,
I mean, think of how it's flipped.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
that's good. Well, that's good. So maybe he is the young pop. You know, fine. One of them. Maybe we got the young pop.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. We still got a long way to go this year.
We have a long way to go.
But you know what? The good thing was we had plenty to talk about this week. And you know what? Next week, we're going to have plenty more because there might be more fisticuffs.
Well, there could be.
There might be another injury. Hopefully not.
No, we don't want that.
But we're going to get more. We're going to get more and more info.
I hope there's a box score to talk about. That's what I
want. Oh, a box score.
I love box scores.
You know they have plus minus now, right, Bob? In the box score? Do you like plus minus?
Well, you know what? Who gets credit for that? I'll go away with Harvey Pollack in Philly. Gave us plus minus 30 years ago when no one else did in his famous guides. Plus minus. Yeah. Well, I'm not so sure about plus minus, but we can talk about it.
All right. There you have it.
And we will.
From the Legacy Club, the Ryan and Goodman podcast. Be sure you subscribe to the podcast wherever you listen to your pods. That's right. iTunes,
Good Hoop Talk,
Stitcher. And Bob goes to all of them.
Nowhere else. Tell them where they go to get good box score talk.
Bob, where are you on Twitter? What's your Twitter handle?
I am at Globe Bob Ryan.
And I'm at Goodman Hoops. And Bob is entertaining. I'll give him credit. You've gotten better. You're stepping up your Twitter game.
I'm trying to. I got.
You're not at Embiid
bar,
level.
He raised the bar for me.
You are not at Embiid level, but you're slowly inching your way there. So, all right, we'll see you next week.